In the Absolute Universe, Wally West has always been running from something. From the loss of his mother, the constant uprooting as his father's job dragged him from town to town, or the quiet, gnawing anxiety that never gave him a moment's rest. He had no friends, no foundation, but was in constant motion. So it's ironic then that Barry Allen's experiment beneath Fort Fox granted Wally super speed. One moment of catastrophic failure and Wally's world shattered. He gained impossible powers but also lost his grip on time itself, slipping between past, present and futures where he might become a hero, or maybe a monster. And the more he learned, the clearer it became. This was not chance. Eleanor Thorne had been guiding events from the shadows, positioning Wally as the key to unlocking the Still Point, a dimension of living energy first discovered by her grandfather Eobard Thorne, who vanished into it decades ago. Panicked and overwhelmed, Wally ran, and in doing so he dragged Barry with him, a mistake that cost Barry his life. That was the beginning of a year-long journey across the country, a blur of motion and fear, of near captures and narrow escapes, and of a boy trying to outrun not just the world but really himself. The authorities sent the Rogues after him, a hardened strike team led by Captain Cold and backed by Grodd, but they didn't bring him in. Instead, they wanted to recruit him, because their loyalty wasn't to the mission, it was to Wally's father. Colonel Rudy West had been taken by Thorne, and the Rogues planned to go rogue themselves, break into Fort Fox, bring him home, and burn whatever remained of Thorne's work to the ground. When they finally returned to Fort Fox, everything fell apart though. The Still Point opened. Eobard Thorne emerged as something hollowed out and monstrous, twisted by decades trapped in stillness and transformed by the energy he sought to control. And it was up to Wally to send the beast back where he came from. But Wally is just a boy. In the chaos, with the Rogues barely holding the line, Colonel West made a choice. He forced Thorne back into the Still Point and trapped himself there in the process. And just like that, Wally was right back where he started, running out of time, running out of answers, and now running out of family. And you know what? For a story that spanned an entire year of Wally's life, it never quite felt like one. The pace has been relentless, almost to a fault. So now that the origin is finally behind us, I'm hoping that the series can breathe a little and start to stretch its legs. And so far the signs are positive. Issue 13 picks up with Wally back at the Dibney mission in Iron Heights, a shelter for orphaned children. Wally has nightmares about his father, unable to hear what he's saying, so to clear his mind he heads up to the roof to listen to old answer machine messages, just to hear his dad's voice again. The owner, Ralph Dibney, follows Wally up and offers help. He saw what Wally did when Heatwave descended on the town, and he knows Wally's secret, but Wally doesn't want his help and denies everything. Ralph shows his loyalty to Wally by tearing up the business card of the DEO agent that came snooping around, Agent Hunter Zolomon. Now there's a name that will be familiar to mainline universe fans, and he tells Wally that he'll be there for him when he's ready. The same level of support is demonstrated by another resident, Linda Park, who also saw what Wally was capable of. She lets him know that she has a photo of him in costume on her phone. Oh no. Apparently one of the few where you can clearly see his face, and she lets him know that she wants to help. Kind of feels a little bit like blackmail, but more friendly. Feeling backed into a corner, Wally agrees to let her in, and it's here that we finally get some character development from Wally. We've known that he's an anxious kid since the first issue, but we start to hear why. His mother was bipolar, and with his father being away for work, it was always up to Wally to deal with her problems. While she was fine when taking her meds, sometimes she forgot to take them, or maybe felt like she didn't need them anymore, and that would always result in trouble, until one day she killed herself. His mother's death was disclosed early on, but we weren't told how it happened. Seeing her in the hospital bed, I assumed it was an illness, which, I suppose it was, but you know what I mean. Worse, Wally blames himself for not keeping track of her medicine, for not doing more and insisting that she kept taking her pills. He also resented his father for not being there to help. That's what had driven the wedge between the two of them, guilt and blame. And now that his father is trapped in another dimension, effectively dead but technically alive, Wally feels powerless. It's at this point that Linda asks him why he doesn't go back to Fort Fox to look over the ruins to see if there are any clues that might help him rescue his dad. The facility is in ruins, the personnel and test subjects are gone, and the Rogues have cleared it out of all the good stuff. But Wally still has time to root around. And one of the curious things that the pair find is that all of the mirrors are broken. And one particular mirror has a weird multi-layered reflection. Fans of The Flash in general will immediately know what this means. The Mirror Master is there. Now this probably won't be too surprising because Mirror Master showed up in the flash forward section of the first issue, set 1 year after the fateful night in Barry Allen's lab. If you've been following along with the other Absolute books, you'll know that Mirror Master showed up in the Free Comic Book Day special where he encountered the mainline universe Mirror Master, who shared information about his universe. From there, he has shown up in the Absolute Evil special, teaming up with Brainiac and setting him on to Lex Luthor, which has not gone well for Lex, as seen in the pages of Absolute Superman. But here Mirror Master, or should that be the Mirror Masters, appear to be trapped inside of the mirror, and he pulls Wally and Linda in, demanding that they release him/them. So when faced with this freaky scenario, all Wally can do is run. So yes, I think that now that the origin story is out of the way, things are much better. We've been given some insight into who Wally is, what drives him, what his fears are, and his supporting cast has started to take shape. I must admit I miss Grodd, but Wally said their bond was so close he's bound to turn up again in the near future, although likely with his mean-spirited Mojo Jojo-looking father. The only question I have is where this lines up in the overall Absolute Universe timeline. I have to assume that this takes place before the flash forward from issue 1, given the fact that Mirror Master is trapped, although I suppose it could be shortly afterwards. I'm confident that it's before he met his alternate universe counterpart, and definitely before he met up with Brainiac. We still don't really know who he is, but we had seen his tech being developed in the depths of Fort Fox. Although how he got where he is and what he wants other than freedom, we'll likely have to wait until the next issue.
Absolute Flash 13 is available now from all good comic shops.
I would encourage you to research your local comic shop, and if you don't have one, I'm certain there are dozens of good stores nearby that would be happy to mail you your comics. If you're opposed to the idea of cluttering up your home with comic books, then you can get this one digitally from places like Amazon as well as Neon Ichiban. Personally, I prefer physical comics, but I do like the convenience of having thousands of comic books accessible from my phone. But you do what works best for you.
For those interested in my physical collection, I just simply could not get over the fact that I missed out on a few seminal vintage Batman comics in Gosh Comics' Batman event a few weeks ago. So it was eBay to the rescue. They only had graded copies available, but I got this copy of Batman 156, the iconic Robin Dies at Dawn cover that spawned a series of homages over the decades. And the main object of my feelings of missing out, a copy of Batman number 50 from 1949, a very early Two-Face story where he's renamed Harvey Dent instead of Harvey Kent. Next time. I'm in the middle of posting a bunch of shorts about some recent DC releases from their new Next Level initiative, Lobo, Deathstroke the Terminator and Batwoman, as well as the Vertigo title End of Life number 2. I would make full videos about them, but frankly there's only so much time in the day. So please do go check those out because I'm experimenting with video formats and would appreciate your thoughts on them. Next week I'll return with 2 long-form videos. Up first is Absolute Wonder Woman 19, where Diana faces off with Veronica Cale's trump card, the flaming skeletal magician who may or may not be Giovanni Zatara. And finally I'll be talking about Absolute Martian Manhunter number 10, where Bridget struggles to see the truth through the white smoke and all is set to be revealed about the Martian. Hope to see you then.